Good morning. The time now is 9 o'clock. We are starting with the ordinary council meeting for 31st March 2022. I would like to welcome everybody here this morning. HODs, welcome. Thank you. Councillors, welcome. The public listening in, welcome. Do we have on virtual? Those on virtual, welcome this morning to the session. The attendance register is circulating. Please make sure that everybody signs the attendance register. Is it circulating? Thank you, thank you. The application for leave of absence. The office of the speaker has received none. Everybody is present. Can we please then observe the 1 minute of silence for prayer to open this morning's proceedings? Starting now. Thank you. Thank you. We will be moving on to point 4, the declaration of interest. Any disclosures? Executive Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. I think I must just declare something that might impact. There's an item on Market on Main on their relocation, and I've got a separate business that I run with my wife, where we supply ice to various places in Bitou, and Market on Main is one of our customers. So I think that's probably something that I should declare.
We note that, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much. From point 1 to point 5, the confirmation of minutes for previous meetings. 5.1, minutes of the ordinary council meeting dated 28 February 2022. The minutes is on screen.
The council meeting is starting from page 7 to 22. We are now at page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, page 12, page 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, attendance registers 19, 21 and 22.
Is that a true reflection of the minutes? Councillor Nel?
Speaker, I propose that we accept the minutes as read and correct.
There's a proposal by Councillor Nel. Councillor Kamkam?
Seconded, Speaker.
Didn't see Councillor Water. Your mic.
Thank you. Just with regards to, on page 11, the appeal documentation with regards to IRF 562, which will be submitted to the Mayor for a final decision. Has a final decision been made on this? Sorry, it's just a matter arising on IRF 562, colon TRA. It says will be submitted to the Mayor for a final decision. I'm just inquiring as to whether there has been a decision has been made on this.
Councillor
Speaker,
Kamkam, I see your hands up.
sorry, Speaker, if I may. As far as I know, the documentation has been prepared. So the mayor has not yet received submission. However, we did have a community meeting and the proposal for TRA was rejected once again. So that decision has been documented and according to me, that's the end of it. Thank you.
It has been closed. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. On that then, we accept the seconder from Councillor Kamkam. Moving on. Point 6. Statements and communication by the Executive Mayor and the Speaker. Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, I'd just like to advise Council that on Monday, the 4th of April, we'll be having a visit from the Western Cape Minister of Transport and Public Works. He's going to be here just for the morning to discuss aspects around the Plet Airport. And then there's also a planned signing of a memorandum of agreement between the Plettenberg Bay Taxi Association and Uncida Plettenberg Bay, and then also to do a site visit to the airport. And then on the 12th of April, we have a visit from the Standing Committee of Human Settlements. It's a return visit. They were here earlier, I think it was last year, and it's an oversight visit around the emergency housing units that have been lying outside the Plettenberg Bay Airport for some time. So that's a follow-up visit to the previous visit. And then just a reminder that we're still under adjusted COVID-19 regulations, level 1. So this now, the changes in that says we still need to wear masks indoors to protect our staff and visitors. And then we must please continue to adhere to these regulations to make sure that we ensure everyone's safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Point 7, the presentations. We have no presentations. Moving on to point 8. Items for information, which has been dealt with by the Executive Mayor in terms of his delegated authority. Items for information, resolution by the Mayoral Committee of its meeting dated 22nd February 2022. Is there such with you? None?
None, Speaker.
Okay. Point 9. Noting of outstanding and partially implemented council resolutions.
Starting at page 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32.
Councillor Botha, I see your hands up.
Just with regards to on page 30, the policy for the Mayor's Special Fund. Is there a Mayor's Special Fund policy? And if so, then why is it sitting at 0%? Has it been reviewed or has it not been reviewed?
Executive Mayor.
Okay, the policies wouldn't be for me to determine. That is part of, I see it's Mr. Nivat. That's the originator of that.
We are at the moment dealing with that, Councillor Botha. As you note, it's an outstanding, so we were looking into it. Mr. Nivo, the manager responsible, is busy and looking at, and will in due time send a response based on your question there. Executive Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. I think as in the Maker meeting, there were a lot of outstanding items. And at the time, the administration advised that it is the department concern that's not closing off items. So as with what we discussed in MACO, we need to get the departments to look at these items, and items that need to be closed off need to be closed off. Because we managed to reduce the MACO one from, I think it was 2 or 3 pages to 1 page once it had been corrected. Something we need to do the same here, Speaker.
I think that's what I was saying to Councillor Botha, that we are busy closing a lot of these items. We had recently, me and the Chief Whip, we went through items, and what we found out, some of the items that has been closed is still on there. So we are busy looking through it and communicating with the relevant departments to ensure that that must be closed. Those items must be closed, should be not be there. Thank you. We'll be moving on to point number 10, the consideration of reports, non-delegated matters, which you would find in the portfolio of index. Starting off with the office of the municipal manager. Can we have the item on screen?
We're starting with the first section, section 1, Office of the Municipal Manager. Item C/1/36/03/22. Municipal Public Accounts Committee, Oversight Report for 2020 to 2021 financial year, page 37 to 273.
Thank you. The item is serving.
Mr. Speaker, we have circulated the recommendations of the mayoral committee after it. It's not attached in the agenda. We will screen that as well so that the mayoral committee recommendations is on screen. It's not in the documentation.
Can we then have it there? Councillor Kolobi?
Good morning, everyone. I would love to bring just to our attention that when we're doing our oversight as MPEC, we're given the summary of the Auditor General, but now in minutes we're given the whole in-depth report of Auditor General. So I would love that our governance and compliance team or performance management unit to take note of that, because as you now start to look at the things, you can see the whole in-depth of the comments of Auditor General, whilst when we as MPEC were sitting, we're only given a snippet. It's a snippet when we get a summary of Auditor General, instead of getting the whole depth of it so that we can do it and knowing what exactly Auditor General say. We're just bringing that to the council's attention. Thank you.
Do you take note? Thank you. Thank you. I see Councillor Olafier's hand was up.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to go with the recommendation by the Executive Mayor.
There's a proposal that we go with the recommendations by Councillor Olafier. Just hold on, Councillor Kabai. Councillor Kabai?
No, let's be given an opportunity, because our agendas, we're saying the recommendations by the executive mayor will be circulated here separately. Now somebody comes and say she recommends, she goes with the recommendations. No, we must be given an opportunity to read there. That's what I'm saying.
That's what you see my hand, the positioning of my hand. I understand, Councillor, what you're raising.
There is somebody who is moving. That's what I'm saying.
We take note.
Let's be given an opportunity to read first.
Can we scroll a little bit up? Thank you. All just up. That's it.
Are we able to minimize our lighting? Because we are unable to record.
Councillor, order. did not recognize. Can we please behave? I understand your point, but just in a manner. Thank you. Let's not show and rise and speak as if we want to. Thank you. Councillors, that's sufficient time for reading. I take it as a yes. Councillor Nyal, I see your hands up.
Speaker, I second. I second.
Proposed by Councillor Olivier and seconded by Councillor Nyal.
We're moving to the second item. Item C/1/37/03/22. Municipal Public Accounts Committee. Report on irregular expenditure from 2019 to 2020 financial year, page 274 to 280.
The item is now serving. Deputy Mayor. There's a proposal by the...
Sorry, Speaker, the mic was not on. I propose that I go with the recommendation by the Executive Mayor. Thank you.
Proposal by the Deputy Executive Mayor. Councillor Tsabai.
Where is it? Where is the recommendation?
It was shown on screen.
Show us the recommendations, please, officials.
It's on screen there. Councillor Olivier, I see your hands up.
I second that recommendation by the Executive Mayor.
It is seconded by Councillor Olivier in terms of the hands, raising of the hands. Thank you, councillors. The item was proposed and it was seconded. In order, the hands was raised. Therefore, we will move to the next item.
I repeat again, C/1/38/03/22. Reporting on the matter between Minister of Finance versus Agribusiness, NPC, on Constitutional Court Order on Preferential Procurement Regulations 2017, page 281 to 409.
Speaker.
The item is serving.
Speaker, I propose that we go with the recommendation.
Proposed by Councillor Nel. Councillor Mhlana, see your hands up.
On the recommendations, can you go down? These are the recommendations for this item. Go down. I need to say C. Yes. No, I just want clarity before we jump into, we go with the recommendations. Whether this matter, we got any advice in terms of the law, so that when we continue with processes of procurement, we are not challenged in court. Was there any legal advice that was acquired by the municipality regarding this matter?
Amen.
Yes, thank you, Councillor. We have consulted with other municipalities in the area or the region, and I've also consulted with the newly appointed municipal manager, Mr. Mamani, on the issue. We had a directive from National Treasury. So what we're proposing here is basically in line with what most of the municipalities are doing currently. And we have canvassed the issue in the senior management team as well.
Thank you. Councillor Botha?
Sorry, I'd just like clarity in terms of tenders advertised on or after the 16th of February, so not awarded. Is this exactly specifically those words? I mean, what has SALGA recommended? Because I know SALGA had a different recommendation than National Treasury.
Amen.
I'm not aware about of the SALGA recommendation except for the National Treasury one. But the one that we're putting in front of council today, I'm comfortable that it's perfectly fine and in order to go along. Should we go along with the National Treasury recommendation, it will basically hijack service delivery in terms of our tender processes. Because the National Treasury directive was that we should hold tender process after 16 February.
Thank you. Councillor Mangaba, your hand was up.
Thank you, Speaker. I would suggest that before we actually go on with this, that we are sure that it's actually in line, because if we really look at the Act of 2017, which that PPRA of 2017. No. Yes, the Act in itself was there so that the historically disadvantaged may be considered, which would mean then it was there to bridge the gap between the impoverished and the privileged. Now, if we are actually going to go with these recommendations, it will then mean now we are saying that we've moved as a nation. Now we are at the point where we are actually equal, and that's not it. The BEE stood to actually redirect, or rather to practice affirmative action. Now, if we get to a level where we are saying we are scraping that out of the equation, the poor will be poorer and the richer will be richer. Now, I'd like to bring it to this council that there was a thought process to bridge the gap between the haves and the have-nots. Now, if now coming into the tender processes, now Pete and Majola will actually be weighed in the same scale, then we'll be crippling our economy.
I think MM is noting that. Councillor Kapai?
Speaker, I want to impose the question to the acting MM. So it means that the preferential procurement regulations are withheld now.
It's been declared unconstitutional, Councillor, by the Constitutional Court. I believe that the MEC and SALGA will approach the court for guidance on the issue. The court actually left a vacuum by not sort of giving guidance in terms of the way forward. But I believe SALGA and the MEC in the province, they intend approaching the court for guidance in terms of the way forward. But it has been declared unconstitutional.
Hey, the other group is happy.
Are you covered, Councillor Kapai? I saw then Councillor Olivier, hand was up. Councillor Olivier?
I would like to second the recommendation by the Executive Mayor.
The proposer was Councillor Nel and the seconder was Councillor Olivier.
We're moving over to item C/1/39/03/22. Adoption of revised 2022/2027 Integrated Development Plan, page 240 to 412. The Annexure A was circulated separately as Annexure. Let me just see. Annexure, what is that, Atandeka? Was circulated separately as an annexure.
Item now, serving. Councillor Botha, your hand was up.
Thank you, Speaker. With regards to the draft IDP that we have at the moment, references are obviously coming through from our social economic profile, but references made to teenage pregnancies being at 0%. I would just like to scrap that totally. It's not true, and I don't see why we should continue putting that into all the information that we have concerning Bitou. We cannot say that there's 0% teenage pregnancies occurring in Bitou. Yes, there's no births, just purely because we don't have a hospital in our municipality, but it's being disingenuous to the fact that we do have teenage pregnancies occurring in Bitou. Okay. Then I'd also like to ask, please, can we tidy up some more from page 42 onwards? The councillors' names some of the councillors' names are incorrectly spelled. There's some grammar errors, syntax errors, spelling errors. If that can please be looked at before this goes out to the public. It doesn't reflect well on us when we've got such basic, simple errors popping through in the IDP, even though I understand it is a draft. Thank you.
Thank you for the last part, Councillor. I did take that up yesterday with Mr. Henge. I did phone him. He admitted. In fact, he mentioned that he would rectify it because some of the political parties' names is also wrong there. And at some instance, they mentioned the full name, and the others, they're only abbreviations. And that can cause sometimes unhappiness. So I did raise it yesterday late afternoon with him, and he will rectify it. Thank you, Councillor Botha. Are you happy? Thank you. Councillor Nyal, your hand was up.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Botha did cover what I wanted to mention in proposing that we accept it, subject to the corrections being made and the spelling errors being corrected. So I propose that we go with the recommendation, subject to the administration fixing those errors.
The proposed by Councillor Nyal. Councillor Olivier.
I want to support the recommendation by the Executive Mayor because it says referred back and noted. So I think the maker picked all of that up. So we're referring this item back. So I support that, the recommendation by the Executive Mayor.
Seconded by Councillor Olivier.
Mr. Speaker, I then have to get the proper recommendation because if it's referred back, there is no decision on it. So the recommendation will change as follows, that the revised integrated development plan be noted and that the administrative errors be fixed before publication for public comments.
That's correct. That it be rectified before it goes out. It would give us it would be a bad reflection. So can we rectify that in terms of the recommendations?
Speaker, can I just clarify? My concern is that if we refer it back, it has to come back to council before it can go through. And therefore, my proposal was that we ensure that the administration correct the spelling errors and everything, so that it does not need to come back to council again.
That's what you just.
That is what I indicated, now, yes. Councillor. I've changed it and taken out one.
Thank you.
We're moving to item C/1/40/03/22. Tabling of the 2022/2023 draft top layer service delivery and budget implementation plan between brackets SDBIP, page 413 to page 414. The annexure has been circulated, the addendum, as addendum 1.
The item is on screen serving. Councillor Olivier.
I go with the recommendation of the Executive Mayor.
There's a proposal come from Councillor Olivier. Councillor Nyal.
Second, Speaker.
Seconded by Councillor Nyal.
We're moving over to section 2, finance. The first item is item C/2/36/03/22. Section 71, report for the month of February 2022 from page 416 to page 510.
Just the item is on screen serving now. Councillor Kamkam.
Thank you, Speaker. Can you kindly move up? Can you move up more? Yeah, because there's a recommendation number 6. The recommendation, I would like to support the recommendation by the Executive Mayor Speaker. Speaker, yeah. We, in the Finance Committee, we had 5 recommendations. Can we please, we do have the recommendations from the Finance Committee. We had 5 recommendations, and you will note under recommendation number 5 that we had to change from saying that it's National Treasury that must be requested to make a presentation on promoting debt collection. They've got a campaign. It's calling the Responsible Citizen Campaign. And there's a 4-step approach in order to obtain buy-in from customers when it comes to our public participation. So there's just a debt rectification there, because we, in the Finance Committee, Councillor Botha suggested that, but we were under the impression that it's National Treasury. So we are changing that in the recommendations by the Executive Mayor and correcting it by saying it's COCTA. And then recommendation number 6 was added in the MACO meeting. And it says that the report be submitted on the appointment of a local service provider in respect of debt collection and the proposal on the way forward. And if you look at point number 4 said that management should look at ways to enhance revenue collection, hence the adding of point number 6, because we know we had problems with our previous consultants that the collection rate was very low. It was at 1%. So we want to explore other options. And then point number 3, we know that we are in deficit, hence we are saying that managers should implement expenditure management. So with that, Speaker, I propose that we go with the recommendations of the Executive Mayor. Thank you.
In the terms of the hands raised, it was Councillor Kamkam with a proposal, then it was Councillor Mangaba, and then it was Councillor Mslana, and then it was Councillor Tapai, and then the Deputy Mayor. Councillor Mangaba.
Thank you, Speaker. If we look at the recommendations that were actually made by the Portfolio Committee, if we go to point 3, that it be noted that the municipality was in a deficit for the month of February. And then now, I understand in simple terms, everyone would get that managers need to exercise expenditure control and all of that. But we delve deeper in the committee. And what we picked up as a contributor is, and it was highlighted, and we spoke lengthily about it, that there's actually money that is actually spent so much on impounding and transporting animals from here to George. We are going to sit with that situation up until we come up with a plan. We devise a solution which would be, we need to have our own impound facility. Understand that having such a facility would mean we need to spend for it, but we'll make returns after that. Up until we have that, every month we will battle with the fact that there's actually so much money that is actually spent on moving these animals to George. So I want to bring that to the House, that we need to actually exercise a sense of urgency in terms of devising that plan so that we can actually make money of it. Because the rest of what constitutes our deficit is stuff we don't have control over, like your what's this? The writing off of property and the, what's this name again? But point is, for us to be able to actually get to a level where we are actually running this municipal without deficit, we need to actually have measures in place. Part of that is ensuring that we have our own impound facility so that we can actually make back the money that we're actually spending on moving these animals to George.
Thank you, Councillor Ngaba. Councillor Mslana.
Yeah, just a clarity, Speaker, on point 5, whether COCTA will do the presentation to us as council or to the community. And I also want to raise a concern from the finance point of view, we are not consulted. You know, there's going to be now indigent policy campaign, which were not. I was not consulted. I don't know about the other ward councillors. I was not consulted, and I think that we do have ideas as councillors on how we can get to our people. I think we need to be consulted. Thanks.
Your first point and the point of clarity, Councillor Kamkam, for the point of clarity.
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, Councillor, Mr. Andile Namto did confirm to me that COCTA was contacted and they will be presenting in the next council meeting. And also, I am also meeting with him afterwards to address your concern of, a consultation with the ward councillors and councillors in terms of our indigent public participation. So your concern is noted.
Thank you. Then we have Councillor Kabai.
Thanks, Speaker. Speaker, I would advise that we, as a municipality, to have programs that are participatory to our communities about the collection. It's not sitting well with me that the executive is going to outsource its responsibility. You see, to me, conducting COCTA is you are outsourcing your responsibility. Don't know whether they need to be lectured on how to collect revenue by COCTA. I understand COCTA has a program, but we must have an initiative first in-house. Then therefore, we say, how can we then be assisted? But the remedy in all this is public participation. Going to communities, ward committees have been set up, there are councillors, there are officials, so that I'm being intimidated there, and you are saying nothing.
No,
you see,
there's no noise. There's no noise.
She's raising her hand. That's intimidation.
Can we continue, Councillor? It's not that she's
no,
waving
it's the rules of the meeting.
moving.
You are intimidating somebody when you are raising your hand while he is still speaking. We need to also educate them about the procedures of a meeting now.
Can we continue,
They must
Councillor?
then call COCTA to also teach them on how to deal with meetings.
Your mic is off, so I take it you off your point on that one. The Deputy Mayor's hand was, in the terms of the order, she was up. Deputy Mayor?
Speaker, I seconded the proposal made by Councillor Kamkam.
We had a proposal by Councillor Kamkam, and then we had a seconder by the Deputy Mayor. On that, the item is closed.
We're moving over to section 3, corporate services. First item is item C/3/27/03/22. Public participation section. Establishment of ward committees for the 5-year term between brackets 2021 to 2026 from page 512 to 519.
The item is also on screen, now serving. Councillor Kamkam?
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, once again, I would propose that we go with the recommendations by the Executive Mayor, and it be noted under point number 2 that there was a problem or something picked up in Ward 5, where there was someone on the committee that we had to take off, but the ward councillor, Councillor Mangaba, will sort out that issue for us. So with that, Council, I see his hand is up, but I'm proposing that we go with those 2 recommendations.
In terms of the hands raised, it was Councillor Sethi first, Councillor Mangaba, and Councillor Olafir. I'm attending to Councillor Sethi.
Thank you very much, Speaker. In this item, I think I would like to ask or request that all the ward committees must have uniform. And I think I can just elaborate how or what kind of uniform. It can be T-shirts with their name badges in order for them when they going into houses or when they performing their duties can be seen on or can be known. Thank you.
I will definitely take that up. It's in terms of being recognized also with uniform that you know who they are. Thank you, Councillor Sethi. We will take that up for you. Councillor Manaba.
Thank you, Speaker. I concur with what my colleague over here has just stated. I was actually going to cover that, but moreover, the reason why I would actually want them to be recognizable, it is so the security around this, because now you know what's going to happen now. People might actually walk into people's houses acting as though they're actually ward councillors, and that would actually render ward committee members, excuse me, and that would actually render a fail and render a bit of unsafety with regards to them serving in the communities. And we've seen it quite a number of times with the crime rate that is actually rising, that people at times they would impersonate securities or would impersonate law enforcement. So I would rather we have uniform badges and jackets that the ward committees actually have with their names on, so that they may be known in the communities where they serve, and in my absence, that they know they are actually representing the ward councillor.
With that then, thank you, Councillor Mangaba. Councillor Olafir.
Speaker, I want to go with the recommendation. In fact, I just want to say that I'm very supportive of what my fellow councillors have said on the ward committee identification. Identify them as ward committees. I hope we have a budget for it. But with that, I go with the recommendation of the Executive Mayor.
Thank you. The item was proposed by Councillor Kamkam and it was seconded by Councillor Olafir. That closing.
Moving to item C/3/28/03/03/22, Customer Care Section. Report for 1 January to 28 February 2022, page 520 to 525.
Thank you. The item is serving. Councillor Kamkam, your hand was up. Then just hold on. Councillor Manlaba, was your hand up or were you just catching air? Okay, it was up. It's Councillor Kamkam. And then Councillor Manlaba. Thank you.
I'm noting some very healthy thing going on here. It's very healthy. Speaker, we are noting the report, and with that, Speaker, I would propose that we go with the recommendations by the Executive Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Olafir. Sorry, Councillor Manlaba, and then Councillor Olafir.
Oh yeah, my mic is on. Lovely. Could we please go to page 521? I need to draw your attention to that breakdown, top 10 complaints. Before 521. Yes. If you look at the top 10 complaints for the month of January to February, right? Okay. There's 327 calls that were made for drain blockages. 306 for Hanisaka. Now, if you look at these, going into the new financial year, and in terms of planning, we need to ensure that at least we have trucks, because that one truck is doing so much. And doing so much would mean a lot of calls that are actually logged, they are attended later than they should. Now, going into the new financial year, we need to plan around it so that we actually have 2 trucks. And then again, if you go down on that very same list, there's actually request for monthly statements and invoices. Our people should not be requesting for this. This needs to get to their houses on time. I remember there was a time where we had people assisting us with delivering these mails on time in the houses. And that I know now it is not in action, or it is not the case, which would then mean instead of you getting your statement as you should monthly, you get it bi-monthly. And that is what causes a bit of irritation with regards to calls that are coming in, because people now are unaware of how much they are owing, because they keep paying, however they get their statements very late. That needs to be considered, that we actually have just two assistants in one ward, ensuring that whenever these letters are ready, they are ready for delivery, instead of us sending it to a postman who's going to take a month and a half for them to get to the right hands. If we look at again, back on the stats, water leakages, people cannot be calling for that. I would rather we have other issues to attend to than this. But now, for this to be out of the list, we need to go back to the learnership and the trainings that we did just a while back. I'm so sure Mr. Khonotti still has the list of the matriculants that were actually taught and they were on a learnership for water leaks. We have such a database that could be put to use. Now that we are actually getting into the new financial year, we need to focus. When it comes to that budget of EPWP to ensure that we get that list. We give these boys and girls the opportunity to actually work and assist our people in our communities, so that people don't call for just leaks. When we have people sitting in the corners of the streets without jobs, whereas they have the capacity to actually assist us with that. Apart from that, I go with the recommendations.
Thank you. Mr. Dishu, CFO, you raised for response.
Thanks. On the issue of the trucks, the Hanisaka, I think we in the process will have two Hanisaka. One that we bought Hanisaka that is not being used now. We are upgrading that Hanisaka, and then we'll be having two Hanisakas that will be addressing number one and number two. It will be it's a jetting machine. That will be it's a mix of a jetting machine and Hanisaka. We managed to, for this year, it's on the building stage now. They are still putting everything on it. And then the other one, we put aside the money for the next financial year to have it. I think by the first quarter of next year, those two Hanisaks will be running. Even this one will be running before we got the one that is currently we bought it. Thanks.
Thank you, CFO. Councillor Kapai.
Thanks, Speaker. Speaker, we must really dwell on this because it's a service delivery related item. Speaker, let me start with human resource implications.
Sorry?
The item is closed, Councillor.
Oh yeah, sorry, Councillor Manlaba. Close it, sorry. It was proposed by Councillor Kamkam, and then Councillor Manlaba went with the recommendations. In terms of the raising of the hands, you were fourth councillor. Councillor Manlaba was before you, so he closed it.
But I raised my hand. You were supposed to give me.
Councillor, you raised it fourth. You raised it fourth. He raised it before you. He closed the item.
So if he's third, I'm fourth, and he closed the item. So I'm out.
It's closed. It's closed.
This guy.
You can't open it even if you're number 4. Your item is closed. Thank you very much. Can we continue?
We're moving to item C/3/.
Can we continue?
We're moving to item C/3/29/03/22. Communications and Customer Care section. Policies for adoption, page 526 to 587.
The item is also on screen now serving. Thank you. Councillor Olivier, Councillor Mangaba, Councillor Tabai. Going with Councillor Olivier.
I'd like to go with the recommendation by the Executive Mayor.
There's a proposal that we go with the Executive Mayor. And then Councillor Mangaba.
Thank you, Speaker. While we on this item, gosh, what's going on here? I can't read far. Anywho, let me just get in it. Speaker, we are, okay, communications and customer care section, policies for adoption. Customer care, no, I rest my case, Speaker.
Okay. Councillor Mangaba is resting. So the following two councillors is left on the floor. Councillor Tabai and Councillor Kamkam. Councillor Tabai.
Speaker, I want to commend the departments for the policies that were done. Because we're here, they engage us on policies. And an institution, Speaker, without policies is doomed to fail. And moreover, Speaker, what I would like that officials must do, they must work on those policies. For instance, a customer care policy is very crucial for communities. A communications policy is vital because communication must be done often between the communities and the institution. We had so many queries speak about the way we communicate with our people. I think that will be improved because there is a policy now. I don't want Speaker to take the word commit establishment policy for granted because that's what we usually do. That those people are government. They must be told that they are government. And therefore what the councillors were raising here, that when these people get out there, they represent Bitou Municipality. Then therefore you can't send soldiers out there without a uniform. Because you know how the world is today. Because people personify themselves. There are people who were mayors when they were not mayors then. So we must stop that. Somebody must be recognizable. So Speaker, that's your office. Those ward committees must be assisted. The last one, Speaker, public participation policy. That's what we are not doing as this municipality. And we must go to the policy. And really, it is also in your office, Speaker, that policy must be used. Because there are things that are pushed behind the backs of communities here. We are going to see in this agenda things that are being pushed at the back of the communities without even using the police. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Tabai. We take note to capacitate our ward committee members, and we will take it up in this coming financial year to ensure that those going into the community is recognizable and then be capacitated to us, because they are the vision and the future, and they are the Bitou municipality out there. Thank you. Councillor Kamkam.
Speaker, I would like to propose that we go with the recommendation by the executive, second the proposal from Councillor Olivier.
The item was proposed by Councillor Olivier, seconded by Councillor Kamkam. Thank you.
We're moving over to item C/3/30/03/22. Approval and adoption of Human Resources Management Policies, page 588 to page 962.
The item is now serving. Councillor Kamkam.
Thank you, Speaker. From the Finance Committee, we had our recommendations, and I think recommendation number 3 was added in Mako. So as we see under recommendation number 1, we do recommend that the policies be referred back to align with the policies in accordance with the local government municipal staff regulations that will come into effect on the 1st of July 2022. And that it then be resubmitted in May 2022. The reason for that, Speaker, we started working on our policies back in 2017. But last year in September, the new municipal staff regulations were gazetted. So when we did our workshop earlier last month, we did not take those new regulations into consideration. So it would have been a fruitless exercise for us to adopt these policies and then we have to resubmit them again because the regulations come into effect on the 1st of July 2022. The second thing that was noted in the concerns that were raised by the Portfolio Committee was the fact that we also didn't, under point number 2, we didn't workshop those policies in that order. And in particular, we had very much concerns about the scarce skills and retention policy because that one is very important. So we wanted to highlight to Council that those policies were not yet workshopped. And then in the Mako, the extra recommendation was added to say that internally, Salga, the director actually brought that point up, that Salga will embark on a roadshow to workshop all the municipalities in the Garden Route on the 12th and the 13th of April. And that's why we are then recommending after that workshop from Salga that this item be brought back in May to Council, for Council to look at that. Thank you, Speaker. With that, I would propose that we go with the recommendations by the Executive Mayor.
Propose that we moved with the recommendations by the Executive Mayor. I take note. Let me just get the order correct. Deputy Mayor, your hand was up.
Seconded,
No,
Speaker.
just, sorry, Councillor Mhlana. No, don't, please. Out of respect, I recognize the hand secondly, and then your hand went up later. Partly during the chat while Councillor Kamkam was on the floor, your hand went then up. It's not that I'm trying to be biased or whatever here. I'm saying it is. Can we please respect? If councillors raise their hands, it's not my concern that you're raising your hand late. Can I please ask that we respect that? If hands is being raised in the order, I would like us all to be respected. Because now it's the second time now, each time councillors raised 1, 2, and 3. You raised halfway through the conversation, and now you want to be recognized.
Speaker,
let's continue here on that
Speaker,
order. On that note,
out of order, sir.
Can we continue?
No, you're out of order. This is not your house. No, it's not your house.
Deputy Mayor, can we continue?
No, you can't deal
Councillors,
with us
please, you are
like
making
this in
noise.
house.
I'm on the floor, you are making noise. Because
No.
the speaker can't hear
No
me
one
now.
is making noise here.
You are making noise
What is
because
noise?
I am speaking, but you are interfering.
I raised my hand before you.
No, the
Councillor
speaker
Mhlana.
gave
That's what I'm saying.
put his point to you.
Order, Councillor
You
Mhlana,
can just
you
respect the
switch your mic
speaker
off?
and give me chance to speak.
Deputy Mayor, your hand was up.
I second the speaker.
The proposal by Councillor Kamkam, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. Item closed.
Item C/3/31/03/22. Approval of ICT policies at Bitou Local Municipality, page 963 to 1149.
The item is on screen now serving. Councillor Kamkam. Councillor Tapai, your hand is second.
Thank you, Speaker. This also served at the Finance Committee. The recommendations by the Executive Mayor and the Finance Committee is the same. We were happy that the recommendations that came from our policy workshops was included So with that, Speaker, we recommend that we go with the recommendations by the Executive Mayor and approve and adopt the ICT policies. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kamkam. Councillor Tlapai.
I must stand up. Seconded.
It was proposed by Councillor Kamkam, then seconded by Councillor Tlapai. The item is now closed.
We're moving to section 4, community services. First item is item C/4/0/07/03/22. Bitou Local Municipality Waste Minimization Plan between brackets WMP. Final document page 1151 to page 1287.
Item on screen now serving. Deputy Executive Mayor, Councillor Botha, Councillor Tlapai, Councillor Mhlana, and then Councillor Ndai.
Thank you, Speaker. Can we please have
Sorry,
some...
Deputy Mayor was 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sorry, I thought it was
Okay.
in the order of
No.
how people had
Deputy
their
Mayor?
hands up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I propose that we go with the recommendation by the Executive Mayor. Thank you.
There's a proposal by the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Botha.
Thank you. Could we please have some background and outline as to why it should be referred back? I see that the Engineering Services and Community Services Portfolio Committee has also asked that it be referred back. Please, can I ask for some background information as to why, given that everyone else has supported the acting municipal manager's recommendations? Thank you.
Can I assist?
I recognize you, Councillor Tlapai.
Speaker, we've got Section 80 committees here. And I don't know whether those Section 80 committees are working. If then the recommendation by the Executive Mayor in this item is saying, let it be referred back, that means the information was not enough. He's an executive. Those ones that are in the executive, moreover, they were in those Section 80 committees. I don't know whether the executive mayor overridden all the recommendations from these portfolio committees. If then it's so, then I will concur with Councillor Botha. But mine is that if then the item is referred back, then there is a reason for that. It was supposed also to be communicated in those Section 80 committees. I was assisting, I'm not saying I'm right.
Yeah.
Let's out, Councillor.
No, I want to speak on the same issue.
Are you on a point for clarity for Councillor Botha?
Yes.
Councillor Mhlana?
You know, we're not robots. We're not programmed to just recommend. When I raised my hand, I wanted to ask this. What is the process when items are referred back from those committees? Must they also come to council? Because now we're finding this item is the similar as that one that was referred back. We're finding items here that are referred back. What is the process? If on Section 80 committees, a item is referred back, must it also go to the MACO and must it come here? That's what I want to know. I wanted to ask the same question on the other item as well.
I think that would be council's prerogative in terms of the process it follows. It could either go back to the portfolio committee or again to the maker or back to council, but council can decide that it should eventually, it will in any case have to be confirmed by council. So it will have to eventually get back to council. Whether or not it should go through all those processes, it would be council's prerogative.
Can I just ensure that Councillor Botha, are you?
I would like just some more elaboration onto why it's been referred back. I believe I'm entitled to that, and I believe the council is entitled to that. Otherwise, we could sit here with things being referred back all the time if we're suffering from inertia.
I will be with you now, Councillor. Response in terms for Councillor Botha. Councillor Ndai.
Thank you, Speaker. I think on the portfolio council, why we refer the item back, there was a management that's supposed to respond on our questions, but unfortunately he was off duty on that day. So that's why the item was referred back. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Can I just close Councillor Botha's concern?
That's fine, thank you.
Are you all right, Councillor Botha? In terms of raising the hands, I don't want to skip. Councillor? No. Councillor Tabai, did you step down because your hand was also up?
I'm fine, Speaker, but to raise this is that also the department said this they didn't have information or they wanted information. It's not that it coming from politicians, you see? It's not coming from us. It's a departmental issue. They must sort themselves out there first. I believe it was not supposed to even come here, that item.
You off, then it was Councillor Mslana, then we will move. I'm attending, just hold on, I'm attending in the matter the hands was raised, Councillor. The point of clarity was towards Councillor Botha in the first instance. He is now attending to his first point that is raised his hand on the item. Thank you.
Thanks, Speaker. There was HOT there, Mr. Makfori. He also raised concerns around the same item. Is the HOT in that department? He raised the concerns around the same item. So hence this item was referred back. Even the HOT in that department had a concerns. So I think I'm responding to Councillor Botha.
Councillor Ndai.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to second the deputy on the item as we already heard what the Councillor Botha was saying. Thank you.
In terms of the order, it was proposed by the Deputy Mayor and then seconded by Councillor Ndai. The item is closed. Thank you.
We're moving to item C/4/08/03/22. Status regarding the rehabilitation of the Robert landfill site, Plettenberg Bay, page 1288 to 1306.
The item is on screen, now serving. Councillor Ndai, I see your hand is up.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to go with the recommendation. Thank you.
There's a proposal from Councillor Ndai in terms of the hands raised. It was Councillor Mslana, Councillor Kolwapi. Mslana?
I don't want to close it, but I second go with the recommendation as well.
Sorry, Councillor Kolwapi, you're out. It was proposed by Councillor Ndai and seconded by Councillor Mslana. The item is now closed. Thank you.
Section 5, Engineering Services. There's no items for consideration. We're moving to Section 6, Economic Development and Planning. Item C/6/15/03/22. Property Disposal Policy. Review of the role of the Disposal Committee and Delegations. Page 1308 to 1407.
Thank you. The item is on screen. Now serving.
Speaker, I propose that we go with the recommendation.
There's a proposal by Councillor Nyal, and then it was Councillor Botha, and then Councillor Olivier.
Thank you. I would like to query why Legal Services does not support the recommendation. Is there any legal reasoning?
Can you repeat that? Sorry?
It says here, comments by the manager of the legal services, the recommendation of the municipal manager is not supported. I would like to find out why. Is there any legal reason? Why is our legal department not supporting this?
Amen.
on the face of it, there don't seem to be a reason why he's not supporting it. I don't know whether he's on a virtual platform right now.
Okay, ma'am, just hold on. Mr. Gericke?
Mr. Speaker, I think, and the MM is correct, if Mr. Luliwe is in a meeting, he can reply for himself. But I can say there is no legal reason for this. Mr. Levuyu is the chairman of, Mr. Luliwe is the chairman of this committee. So that we want to disband at this stage, but he did not give a specific reason as to why he does not support the recommendation, but it's not a legal reason. Thank you.
Can we... Okay,
Speaker.
Just hold on, sorry.
Speaker, I'm here.
Recognized?
All right, thank you very much. Good morning, councillors. Speaker, this item was supposed to come to the council in the month of February. At the time, I think it was in January, I've made lengthy comments, and the decision was that this matter will be discussed amongst management before it serves to council. Now, administration has been sending me messages that I did not comment on this item. I have told them that I have commented and the discussions that we were supposed to have, because there are few issues that I did not agree with in terms of what is said in the item itself. But since that process did not take place and I did not have the time to repeat my comments, and I don't understand why administration did not consider the comments that I wrote on this item. But I will draw now the comment of not supporting, because I did write lengthy on this issue. But I withdraw that comment. I will support the recommendation, but maybe at a later stage with the management, I will raise the same issues that I've raised in this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levuyo. You withdrawn your comments. Thank you very much. Amen. Do you wanna? Okay, sorry. Councillor Kolwapi?
We can say that Mr. Loliwe has some reservations. And I feel it will be very much unfair if we tramp over those reservations. And he's adamant enough to express that he had some reservation. He was adamant enough to state it that he's not part of recommendations. He might be saying now that he will go with the recommendation, but still we can feel as a council that as much that he overrides what he said, but he still has some reservation, and his reservation, he feels that he still wants to take them over. He said he placed a lengthy, he don't know why it was overruled. Can I suggest that Mr. Loliwe, this item can be referred, and Mr. Loliwe be granted the freedom to express? We'll be like fools if we overlook to somebody, a legal person, whereas we know that we've got a lot of things that are legal issues in this municipality. We'll be fools one day when those things, they come and haunt us back. Can we give him an opportunity to tender whatever his reservation were, or whatever thing In that level, they were talking that he have raised it with the management and the administration. Can we be granted to know what is it that it was his reservation? Even if he might say now that he withdraws that statement, but we can hear and he fully expressed it. Thank you.
Councillor Councillor Kolwape, yes, he did raise it, and he will take it up with the administration. It's as what he was saying, that he don't know why. So you say that you want it to be. That's from Councillor Kolwape. Then I would also take on that one. Councillor Olafir, I see.
I want to go with the recommendation of the Executive Mayor. There are other managers that have given their comments and one hasn't. So if the others have given their comments and it's part of this recommendation, I think we should go with the recommendation. Thank you.
Proposed. Let me just get it right here now with this. The first proposal is now on the floor. Are we, the first proposal?
Mr. Mayor, I propose that we go with the recommendation. Seconded now by
Councillor Nyal, and then seconded by Councillor Olafir.
Mr. Speaker, we will include the recommendation 3 that had been noted that the comments of the manager legal services has been withdrawn and he will raise his concerns administratively.
Yes, that's what his words was, that he's withdrawn and he will take it up with the administration because he still didn't have clear answers why he was not included. That item then closed. Moving on.
Item C/6/16/03/22. Approval of amended Bitou Municipal Spatial Development Framework between brackets is the F 2021, page 1408 to 1797.
Item now serving. Councillor Nyal, your hands up.
Speaker, I propose that we go with the recommendation.
There's a proposal from Councillor Nyal. Councillor Olafir.
I second the recommendation by the Executive Mayor.
Proposed by Councillor Nyal, seconded by Councillor Olafir.
Item C/6/17/03/22. Compilation of Bitou zoning scheme bylaw. Adoption of final bylaw. Page 1798 to 2146.
The item is now serving. Councillor Nyal.
Speaker, I propose that we go with the recommendation.
There's a proposal from Councillor Nyal that we go with the recommendation. Second hand was up. Councillor Olafir.
I second that recommendation by the Executive Mayor.
The item is seconded by Councillor Olafir. That item closed.
No, afterwards.
Can we?
After me.
Councillor Kabai. Okay, I will prove to you that you've raised your hand after.
Yes.
Can we move on with the item?
Yes. Thank you.
Items.
After this, I'm going to prove. Can we move?
Item C/6/18/03/22. SA Senior Golf Tournament between brackets 2022 to 2024, page 2147 to 2205.
Item serving. Councillor Kamkam.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, given our very difficult financial situation and also the fact that we as a council, especially when we were doing our strategic planning, we said we want to focus on service delivery for the poor. So we have to sacrifice, Speaker, and it gives me great pleasure to say that I support the recommendation by the Executive Mayor.
Proposed
and I think
by
we can read what it says.
Councillor Kamkam. Can I read out the order of the hands. It was Councillor Kamkam, Councillor Nel, Councillor Olivier, and then Councillor Mhlana. Councillor Nel, your hand was second.
Speaker, I second the recommendation.
Proposed and then seconded by Councillor Nel, which leaves the item closed. Thank you.
This has never happened.
Speaker, sorry man, I just want to bring this to your attention. You know, you must use your own discretion, don't be bullied. You can, as much as when the item has been seconded, you can give another speaker to speak. Then use your discretion whether that has been closed or not. Because you don't know what is it that I was going to raise, or whoever that have raised the hand, what that person was going to raise. Maybe that was going to be very important. Anyway, I support this. We need money for electricity in Kolwend.
We take note of the comments there.
Speaker.
Can we,
Speaker.
Councillor, I recognize.
Speaker, with your respect, when we are here in these chambers, you must give us freedom to speak out. You can't bully. You know how Bruma lost the case in High Court? It's because he didn't give an opportunity to a councillor to speak freely. He suppressed that council. As a speaker, you must be somebody who doesn't take sides. And we can go to the way that you are doing it. You are giving hands. And immediately the first one say, I recommend. The second one supports the recommendation. You close the item. That is not how it is done. Give an opportunity. If then this one is going to close the item by seconding, give another councillor, because you have noted his secondment, give another councillor a space to raise whatever he was going to say. So don't stifle the debate. You are stifling the debate.
Can I respond now?
Please respond.
I don't agree with what you are saying. Reason be, I allow councillors in terms of how they raise. I can't decide for a councillor what he or she will say at the time when his or her hand has been raised. So by the raising of the hands on the item, in that order, a councillor must be attended to. In terms of what he or she will say, I can't determine that. You are saying that I'm being impartial or bullying. If Councillor Botha raises her hand immediately after the executive mayor, who is an opposition councillor, what she's going to say after that, I can't determine. Whether she closed it, we have seen it with Councillor Mangaba. He closed the item as an opposition, and I gave fair chances for them to debate. Now you come and saying that I'm partial. Can we please look into that way? I can't determine anything a councillor is going to say next. So you are totally wrong in what you are raising here, and I've given each councillor the fair chance in the way they have raised their hands. And I can take you that by the raise of a hands on an item, in that order, councillors must be attended to, or by the putting on of the mic. And if it is in that order, I'm attending to it. Can we please not say that I'm impartial or I'm bullying people here? On that note, there will be no more debate. Thank you around that. That item is closed.
You must be responded to.
Now I'm bullying because we are off the item here.
No, you must be responded
Councillor Mhlana?
I need to respond to what we have just said. There are rules in this house. We have a right to have an opposition to an item, and that can be tested through vote. So don't bully us and say that we don't have a right to speak. We have a right to speak even if an item has been seconded. And then you can test that through vote. That's what democracy is saying.
Thank you. We continue. Can we continue? Next.
Item C/6/19/03/22, Sporting Facility Bylaw, Sport Policy, and the use of the Plettenberg Bay Central Sport Facility between brackets Plet Rugby Field, page 2206 to 2246.
The item is on screen now serving. Councillor Botha, I see your hand was up, then Councillor Nell.
I see that the executive mayor, that it be noted the matter has been dealt with administratively and that the item be withdrawn. I'm not sure what that entails, but just having, actually, I don't know what that entails. If I'm looking at those policies, sorry, obviously there has been issues in the past and looking forward to that there's no issues like this in the future. I think the policies do have to be reviewed. You are looking at the definition of an organization, which doesn't necessarily encompass those that have applied to use the sports facilities in terms of the narrow sense of the word, because even those organizations have to be affiliated to SASCOC or to the national sporting bodies. And what we are seeing nowadays is that there's an organization that has multiple sporting codes, which wouldn't necessarily then be affiliated to all those sporting the national federations. So I definitely think that the policy should be reviewed, which obviously then has a direct impact on who can let and lease the sporting venues.
Policy. Councillor Mhlana.
Again, Speaker, I'm going to ask, what is the process? Because now the recommendation by the executive mayor is that the item must just be withdrawn without giving us any information. Now, what is the process? Why are items get to be brought into this fora and yet these items are withdrawn? What is the process? I'm asking the same question that I've asked. What is the process?
Speaker.
Councillor Nell.
May I just remind you, Speaker, that I'm also going to complain to you because my hand was up before Councillor on that side. But I kept quiet. I didn't make a song and dance about it. And what I wanted to say, no, my hand was...
Continue, Councillor Nell.
What I wanted to say, Speaker, is the matter was withdrawn administratively because in the process of reviewing the policy, there were certain differences which were ironed out, and therefore the administration said they would like to do further work and therefore withdraw the item now. Okay. And that's where we are.
Ms. Wilderman, I saw your hand was up.
Mr. Speaker, we have circulated the council agenda prior to the mayoral committee agenda to allow all councillors to go through the agenda. So administratively, we had to bring this and we couldn't withdraw it prior to the mayor's meeting being finalized. Therefore, items that is withdrawn will unfortunately show on the agenda at this point in time.
Thank you. Just in terms of the hands, can I, Councillor Olivier, then the executive mayor?
I support the recommendation by the executive mayor.
Can we then, the item was seconded. It was then withdrawn. Thank you. Thank you. Can we move?
No, Speaker, I wanted to say something based on the agenda.
Can we restore order? Okay, Councillor.
All men, wait, wait. Speaker,
Your chance to speak. Speaker, did you give him a
what
chance?
the officials are doing.
I want to hear his voice. The item is closed.
Speaker, what the officials have done is 100% correct, because the agenda, it's more than 3,000 pages. We were not going to be able to read more than 3,000 and something pages in a space of, because Meiko, I think it was on a
29th.
Tuesday, you see? We're not going to be able to read the agenda. It's not their fault that Meiko set very late. Now, we are getting these surprises of withdrawn, blah, blah, circulated, and so on. They must put their house in order. That means the executive. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The item was closed. I just gave the councillor. Can we continue? No. The item was long time closed.
Item C/6/20/03/22. Proposed lease of a portion of Earth 984 Plettenberg Bay to operate a car wash. Page 2247 to 2255.
Item serving, Councillor Botha, then Councillor Olafir.
Thank you, Speaker. I've read this and I'm a little bit concerned that it seems to be that the answer is no. No, 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 no. What you've seen here is entrepreneurial, economic activity, which, yes, it was done before permission was asked, which does seem to happen quite a lot in Bitou and Plettenberg Bay. However, I feel like we could have applied ourselves more and given and looked at what problems we actually had with it and then put in conditions. There are other car washes in town, in Pisang Valley, and given that those are on private property, those could very well also be entering the Pisang River Valley. Yet, obviously, we have no control over that to a degree, and we're therefore not monitoring that. It is a service to the public. It has been a well-used service. I hear people commenting and applauding all the time on it. I don't believe that, I think it's a knee-jerk reaction that has been taken, and I don't believe that we've applied our mind to it in terms of how can we assist or what conditions can we put in it to ensure that it could be a viable enterprise and that everyone would be happy going forward.
Thank you, Councillor Botha. Councillor Olafir.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, when we were sitting with this in our portfolio committee, what stood out to me is the comments of the Acting Director Engineering Services. Now, if you read those comments, it gives you clear reasons why that business should not be there. And it also says we have to relook at it and maybe move it to a different space. It's not a matter of no, we just have to. So there's very clear reasons why that business should not be there. And it's on that I support this recommendation. Because as I said, when we're looking at it in the portfolio committee, that is what stood out for us. And I think that is the most important opinion at this stage. So I go with that recommendation of the Executive Mayor.
And just to add on, it says there in the comments that do not support a car wash at this location. So I think it will be looking at it. But it's therefore proposed by Councillor Olafir. Deputy Mayor?
I second the Speaker.
Seconded by the Deputy Mayor.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to clear, Councillor Olafir now mentioned removed and that an alternative location be investigated. Should I add that now or should I keep it with stop at removed? Because that was raised in terms of if it's removed, it's totally removed. But if we continue to say and that an alternative site be investigated.
Councillor Olafir, was that?
I think we should relook at it and look at an alternative site for all the reasons that Councillor Botha is saying. We don't want to take anyone out of a business if it's a viable business, but let's relook at it. But that location is not ideal. So that is what I'm supporting, Speaker.
Please note that that it be relooked at, that it's not suitable for the current location.
We will then adjust, including the shade carports are removed at current location and that an alternative site be explored or investigated.
Correct. Thank you.
Moving on to item C/6/21/03/22. Bitou Vision 2050, page 2256 to 2911.
Item now serving. Councillor Nyal.
Speaker, I propose that we go with the recommendation.
There's a proposal from Councillor Nyal that we go with the recommendations. Councillor Olafir.
I saw you were looking for the other hands before mine. Thank you, Speaker. I noted that. I will second Councillor.
Seconded by Councillor Olafir. Item closed. Can we move on?
Moving to item C/6/22/03/22. Municipal offices, new offices project between brackets of 12624 Ladywood and current Melville Corner offices between brackets lease agreement page 291222 to page 3092.
Item serving, Councillor Botha.
Okay. I know that this issue encompasses a lot that we have to take into account of. I am concerned, though, that we renew a lease agreement because we now want to stop going into a coming together program, and we put ourselves in another 10 or a 20-year lease in Melville Corner. I support the fact that we centralize our offices. I find it ridiculous that we've got offices all over the place. I find it ridiculous that we've got important departments operating from houses where the ceilings are falling in, people are working in garages, and people don't have offices, and we're expecting them to work a full, proper 9-hour day. Also, I believe that if we develop our own offices, we're obviously then giving, specifically in Ladywood, we're giving the opportunity for our own contractors, our own construction companies to participate in the development of Bitou and any economic benefits derived therefrom. I am not keen to just throw away the concept that is there. I don't believe we should extend the Melville leases for a massive amount of time. I don't want to get stuck in a long-term lease. I would like it noted that we talk about the parking lot lease ending shortly, but I would like it noted that that is still 10 years down the line. So they're only 2/3 through their lease. It's not going to end shortly. It's still another 10 years away. And I don't believe that that should be a major factor in deciding whether we have a coming together program or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Botha. Councillor Nel.
Speaker, Councillor Botha has voiced a number of my concerns as well, and we had this discussion before. I think at this point the discussion was that the lease would end shortly. I was not aware that the lease is going to be extended for another 10 years. And with that view, the Coming Together project, I also believe that we should continue with that project as soon as we possibly can. Just financially at this point we can't. Therefore, I would rather propose that we refer this item back and that we investigate the possibility further.
Councillor Nel proposed that we refer the item back. Executive Mayor, Councillor Mhlana, then Councillor Olivier.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd just like to find out then what implication we might have regarding paragraph 4, when the lease of the current offices expire and what our options are in terms of that, because I wouldn't like us to refer it back and then we sit with a problem that we have to move out of our offices. So I don't have a problem with it being referred back for more information, but I think we need to clarify on the existing offices and what our options are there.
Thank you. Just for clarity on that one, Mr. Gericke?
Mr. Speaker, we will have time. The current lease agreement only expires in August. So we've got about 3 months to come back to the council to take a decision on that.
Thank you.
If it expires in August, we don't have all that time because obviously we have to start negotiations before then. So we just need to make sure we set ourselves realistic times that we don't end in a problem.
Thank you. Councillor Mhlana?
No, I think the executive may have raised my concern. In fact, there is no alternative venue. Coming Together project remains a plan or a vision. Our plan, in fact, and our vision. Thank you that it still exists.
Thank you. The proposal by Councillor Nel is still open. Executive Mayor?
I'll second it.
Seconded by the Executive Mayor. Proposed by Councillor Nel that this item be referred back, and seconded by the Executive Mayor. Thank you. Moving on.
Item C/6/23/03/22. Urban 237 and 4131, Plettenberg Bay. Ownership status and proposed use. Page 2093 to 3106.
Item is now serving. Councillor Botha. Yes.
Earth 4131 is very well located for us to consider gap housing or something to that nature. I don't see why it has to necessarily go to retail when we have people crying out there, crying for land, crying for gap housing specifically.
Thank you, Councillor Botha. The Executive Mayor?
Speaker, I declared an interest in this item, so I'm not sure if I should be excusing myself from chamber.
Thank you. Can we then have on the floor is next is Councillor Mhlana. Are you covered? You are directly after.
Speaker, are you
Okay, it's also
recognizing
covered.
my-
Councillor Nel, and then Councillor Wolofir, and then Councillor Kolwapi.
Speaker, the current table and the market on Main will close if alternative location is not found. With that, around about 130 jobs will be lost. It is, both of those places are well-known tourist attractions that bring a lot of money into this economy of this community. Therefore, I propose that we go with the recommendation and that we do all in our power to get that property registered, as Councillor Kabai so eloquently argued during our portfolio committee meeting where this item was discussed extensively, that we do not lose those jobs, that we do not lose that tourism opportunity, and that we do all in our power to get that land registered in the name of these people so that they can move their business there, that the plate does not stop that.
On a Councillor Kudes, I will on a Councillor Nel, just hold on there. Councillor Tabai.
No. You must not say things that I've never said. Speaker, the history of this piece of land, it says it belongs to public works.
Public works.
Then this land, Speaker, the true engagements, politicians engaged with public works. There was an agreement, but an agreement comes with documentation that Bitou Municipality make it possible that this land is transferred to Bitou and it becomes a Bitou Municipality's property. Then therefore there was no evidence that it has been transferred. My argument was saying we can't give land that is not ours. We can't utilize the land that is not ours and even outsource it to some other people. Let us first secure that the land really belongs to us.
Okay, thank you.
You say he's saying whatever that I've never said. Please, you must not misquote me.
After that, Councillor Tabai. Councillor Nel, you can continue.
Speaker, what Councillor Kabai says is partly correct. Part of the recommendation was that we get a legal opinion on where the property value, where the property ownership actually rests. We have received that legal opinion, and that legal opinion gives us the recommendation that we can use this land and that the transaction can be ratified afterwards. So with that having been said, Speaker, the argument was during the Portfolio Committee meeting that this land should, and Councillor Kabai's argument did not go against us trying to get the ownership. His argument was based on where the ownership vests. Now, we have now received that legal opinion, and that legal opinion strongly suggests we continue and we can use this land and we get the ratification afterwards.
Councillor Kolwapi?
Thank you, Speaker. According to the community, we normally knew that with the coming together processes, that land, all these buildings were going to be used as parking and everything, and it was going to create some entrepreneurial activities for Black people to also own things on this side. Well, coming together was having a strategic move in order to ensure that Black people also, they become entrepreneurs. Whether that land it belongs to Public Works or it belongs to Bitou Municipality, it is a public-owned entity, so to say. So when it starts to be a public-owned entity, then it means the public also must have a say when it comes to that. Apparently, it shows that there is some people that have already moved forward with those stage. I'm sure it's an unsolicited bidding, if you can call it in a proper language. And for the mayor also to have an interest to that, it also gives now another form of saying it is a proactively interest of our political leading regime. But anyway, thanks that he has declared his interest. My proposal as an IPM councillor is to say it will be unfair when we speak about a transformation and we speak about a tourism with all this outcry that things are happening here, and we always understand that the tourist rent benefits this time. Can we, for once, allow that also 60% of that proposal that is already on the table, allow that the Black entrepreneurs be seen that they are part of that? It's unfair all the time. We're always told about workers. Please, it's unfair that we're always...
Councillor Nell, I did see your hand.
It's unfair that we're always told that it's the loss of jobs, of which we don't even have a stats here in front of us that really, that thing here, the private thing, was really giving jobs to that amount. It's unfair. But for us to say, meanwhile, it's not usable, can we then, if we allow this, because the proposal, it's more going to that, but can we really intake something that says, 60% of the ownership of the stalls that gonna take here, it should be Black-owned entrepreneurs. 60%, Speaker. 60% of that. This is a public entity. 60% of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kolwapi. Councillor Mhlana, and then...
I just need clarity. Maybe the acting MM will assist me on this part. We're in the council meeting. The executive mayor declares interest here in this meeting. Tuesday, we're here in a meeting shared by himself. He did not declare any interest on this matter. He even wrote recommendations as an executive mayor. So can we get clarity, on that issue? What is the process? It's not the MM's recommendations, those ones.
Acting MM?
I'm not quite sure what the councillor want. Could you just clarify the question?
I'm saying there was a MACO meeting. In the MACO meeting chaired by the executive mayor, he did not declare any interest on this item. He chaired the meeting, and here we're in the council meeting. Today he declares interest and he recuses himself in this meeting. after he has taken decisions and brought recommendations. So I'm asking, what is the process?
Acting Councillor Nyal.
Speaker, I was present during that MICA meeting, and the mayor at that point did not participate in the discussions. The mayor was merely the chairperson. It was a mayoral committee meeting. For the mayor to recuse himself at that point would have meant that there was no mayor present. And therefore the recommendations that you see there did not come from the mayor.
I don't want to open a dialogue, Speaker, but I think Councillor Nelly is not speaking the truth. I was here in the meeting, MACO meeting. The mayor was chairing the meeting on that item. He did not declare an interest. He did not declare an interest. So there is a conflict of interest. He declares an interest in this meeting and he recuses himself. He was not asked to leave, he recuses himself.
Making a note there. And in terms of the order, we take note of that, Councillor Mhlana. And then Councillor Olafier's hand was up there.
I want to go with the recommendation by the Executive Mayor.
Proposed by Councillor Nyal, then seconded by Councillor Olafier. Thank you. Councillor Manlaba, the item is closed. Let's continue.
Understandably so. Thank you, Speaker. I should bring this to your remembrance because clearly you also have a short-term amnesia of some sort.
Order. Sorry, Councillor. If you want to be insultive,
yes,
that is not appropriate.
But allow me to remind you.
You are insultive. It's not appropriate. Can you withdraw, please?
I withdraw.
And then approach in appropriate manner. If you want to say something, do it in appropriate manner, please.
Okay.
And in council language. Thank you.
Okay, can I talk now?
Continue.
Thank you, Speaker. I must remind you, lest you forgot, we were sitting here at MACO. You were sitting there when Mr. Mayor was actually chairing the meeting. You were here.
You can't be in a MACO meeting.
I had no.
Is it even ethical that somebody with an interest comes with recommendations?
Speaker, you're not
We
allowed
take
to
note.
be in a MACO meeting.
Thank you.
I'm not saying take note, I'm asking.
That is gross misconduct.
I'm asking, I'm not making note. I'm asking, is it ethical?
That is why your attitude is here in meetings.
Yeah.
You even attend.
Thank you. I don't attend regularly. I just had to. Thank you. Thank you very much, Councillor. On that one, it was proposed by Councillor Nyal and seconded by Councillor Olafier. Councillor Kamkam, your hand.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, this item was closed. However, I would like to say, since there's so much concern about the mayor declaring his interest, the mayor declared to say, my wife is selling ice to businesses there. The declaration of the mayor was not, I own a share or whatever the case may be. I recommend the mayor for declaring interest.
Speaker,
And the issue
is
that
closed. The item is closed.
Thank you very much. I recommend
the item is closed.
mayor for declaring
Order.
The item is closed.
Continue.
The item is closed.
Thank you.
also spoke.
Thank you, Councillor Mhlana.
When?
Continue.
When did I spoke? No.
Can we continue?
I didn't speak.
We're now moving to the addendums.
Can we call the executive mayor back, please?
Can I ask, Speaker? I also added to the proposal that 60, is that taken into cognizance? Because I always notice, I will propose something then, maybe it's not taken into cognizance. I'm saying, I've placed a proposal adding to that. Is it recorded?
It will then also reflect, it goes to the minutes upon approval, we will then take, if it is not there, we will then say it's not a true reflection, and we will then refer and fill it in.
What I'm saying, Aloko, in part of recommendation, it was part of recommendation. Can the recommendation be reread, please?
I think we did we, Ms. Waldeman?
Yes, I haven't included, thank you, Councillor Kowape. I did not include it as part of the 60% because the Executive Mayor's recommendation was accepted as is. Should I include the 60%, Mr.?
It was me. No, thank you. It was on the. You can't. As last time, it was part of a conversation. It is not necessary. There is a recommendation there, so therefore we continue with the recommendations.
No,
Speaker, Speaker.
It's
No,
an added
Speaker.
recommendation.
No,
Sorry.
Because the item was on.
No,
So
Speaker,
you are
it's not
saying
the
no, our
first time
people must not
something is
benefit.
added. No, Speaker, it's not the first time something is added, even after the recommendation of the executive mayor. The administration there have made us to get 3 items, 3 bullets in an item that have 2. Please don't put it like that. Unless somebody says that before it was closed, the proposal was before it was closed. I'm just asking, does this being taken as cognizance?
Why are you
now?
still asking?
Please.
Speaker?
Because I don't hear the recapturing. I don't
Councillors,
hear because
councillors.
normally the recommendation before it's closed, it recapture
Councillor
and say
Kolwapi.
we're closed and recapture.
Councillor Nel, no. We're not going to continue anymore.
Protect me. I'm not speaking
That's
to
why-
them. I'm
No,
speaking
but
to
why
you.
are they
Please
pulling her?
protect me.
Councillor,
No, but you are
I
not
want to
pulling
control.
her.
I'm going to get this under control, please. You are
You
interfering.
are so lenient.
I am attending.
to those
Councillor Ndai,
councillors
keep your
that
hand down.
side.
It's fine. I did.
You are so lenient.
Councillor Nel.
No,
Councillor
you are
Kolwapi.
you are biased. You
Councillor
are in a
Kolwapi.
MECOM meeting.
Councillor Kolwapi. I am protecting you, but you are continuing. I can't continue.
You are conflicted because you were in a MECOM meeting. That's why you are like this.
Can we? Thank you. No. Can we continue? Can we continue? In terms of the rest, we're gonna sort it out. Thank you. Can we continue?
Now?
Speaker?
Councillor, no. It's fine. No. We're still on the addendums. Can we continue?
We're moving to the addendum. Addendum 3. I have allocated an incorrect item number when I circulated the documentation yesterday. Please take note that the reference number or the item number will change to Section Community Services, item C/4/09/03/22. Construction of Ebenezer top structure, portion 20, from page 2 to 11.
The item is now serving. Councillor Tkabai.
Speaker, I want to know, has the money been applied by the officials to build houses, top structures for Ebenezer? One question. I'll have a follow-up question.
Question 1 from. Can
let's get the answer.
the response from an official? Mr. Maki?
Thank you, Speaker. The application has not yet been submitted. There is reasons why the application could not be submitted, but there is an allocation that has already been made by province in regard to top structures for next financial year. Thank you.
Follow-up question by Councillor Tkabai.
Which is this money that has been allocated for what?
Mr. Maki?
The money that has been allocated is for top structures for next financial year. It is mentioned in the report itself that there is about 15 million that has been allocated for next financial year for top structures Ebenezer.
That was the question that I was asking. That is there money for top structures for Ebenezer? If then the province has allocated money, then therefore I'm fine.
Thank you, Councillor Tkabai. Executive Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to go with the recommendation that this be handed back to province to expedite the process.
Councillor Kamkam?
I would like to second that proposal, Speaker.
Proposed by the Executive Mayor and seconded by Councillor Kamkam.
We move to addendum 4. and is under Section 2 Finance. It's item C/2/37/03/22. Draft Annual Budget 2022/2023, 2023/2024 to 2024/25. Medium-term revenue and expenditure forecast between brackets MTREF, and that is addendum 4, from page 2 to page 3 to page 535.
The item is serving. Thank you. Councillor Kamkam.
Thank you, Speaker. Let me do what has been requested and give background information, Speaker. The proposal from me is that we refer this item back, the draft budget as well as the draft budget-related policies, for the reasons that we had, as a council, we had strategic sessions recently that we attended, and we then, from those strategic sessions, we have set our priorities. We had a further session where we went into the whole alignment of our strategic objectives with our KPIs in order to phase those into KPIs and then get those aligned with our budgets. Now, we understand that we are pressured for time, and unfortunately, our time frames is sometimes putting pressure on us to stick to compliance matters. But, Speaker, there's no point in us approving a draft budget that does not speak to those priorities that we actually highlighted. And we have also highlighted further many instances, priorities we want to be phased into the draft policies. With that, Speaker, the proposal is that we refer this specific item back, and also given the fact that we will have a municipal manager that will start in next month, and that we then restart this process. Thank you, Speaker. That's my proposal.
Thank you. Proposed by Councillor Kamkam. Councillor Mhlana.
Yeah, thank you very much, Speaker.
Speaker, my hand was second, please.
No,
I'm recognized.
No.
I recognize.
Then fight with him. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you, Speaker. We can disagree with many things, but we're not going to compromise service delivery. I agree with Councillor Kamkam. I agree with Councillor Kamkam, and I support what she has just said now. You didn't hear? I second. Is it because of the track? I second the recommendation.
No, I'm just here.
I second what Councillor Kamkam was saying.
So it's done. It is therefore closed. Councillor Mhlana seconded, proposed by Councillor Kamkam, and then seconded by Councillor Mhlana. Thank you. Can we continue? Thank you, Councillor Ndai. Are we done?
We are done with the item, sir.
We are done. Thank you. We continue with the order of business. Urgent matters submitted, none. The consideration of notice of motions, none. The consideration of notice of questions, none. Can we behave, please, councillors? The consideration of motion of exigencies, there's none. On that note, it is now 4 minutes past 11. We will now go into in-committee. Sorry? Just before you leave, the acting MM just want to say something?
Thank you, Speaker. This is my second last day with Bitou Municipality. I'll be exiting tomorrow. And I want to thank Council for the opportunity to serve at this level and this community. I have been well received by all councillors on both sides of the aisle. I've been well received by my colleagues. I've had the best of cooperation from my colleagues. So thank you once again for the opportunity. Much appreciated.
Thank you, MM. Councillor Tapai.
as opposition, we are obliged to have some few words. I believe the acting MM enjoyed his stay at Bitou Municipality, and we made him to laugh also in council. But you must not think that this is circus. Yeah, we are people who are very concerned about their communities. Be as it may, we are different. We will always, every time, because you will be our ambassador when you go out there now. Because you won't lambast us and say, oh, that council, you see. Yeah, there are those elements in this council, but bear with us. We want to say to you, Acting MM, thank you very much for keeping the boat afloat. You've done it. No, don't say yes. For keeping the boat afloat, because if we had a lunatic here, the boat was going to sink. You really assisted this executive. You helped them to keep the boat afloat. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Executive Mayor?
Thank you, Speaker. I also wanted to add my thanks to the Acting Municipal Manager for the assistance he's given in his time here. It's not easy to come in for a short period to pick up with what's happening and to direct in the correct manner as well, in the correct direction. So thank you very much for that, and I look forward that you are here for a few more days just to do a handover to the incoming municipal manager, so at least we can have a smooth transition and things can continue as they are. So thank you very much from my side.
Thank you, the Executive Mayor. Anybody else want to do a farewell message? I know Mr. Dishu doesn't miss moments to give farewells.
I think there's a senior person older than me, Mr. Mpala.
Director, do you want to have a farewell message? No,
I think I must get preference because I'm a councillor.
Okay, we have closed the session. We're looking at the age now. Senior citizen, do you want to continue?
Thank you very much, Speaker, councillors and colleagues. Yes, we had a very good working relationship with the Acting MM as management. We wanted him to stay longer than this month because there's a lot of things that we learned from him. We also wish him good luck with his future.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dishu?
I think we've done the women empowerment because there were two men that have spoken and I'm fine. But thanks MM for the support and the style of your management and in my other life we are told to be soldiers and then stand on the gap. Thanks for standing on the gap and so that the boat can go to and then I'm hoping that we'll hunt the same animal with the new MM that will be coming and with the brief that we're gonna be giving you. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor come, then Councillor Nell. Are you covered?
I always smile when I look at the MM because no, Councillor Kabai, allow me please. I've got something to declare. No, I've got something to declare. Smiling is embarrassment. Thank you very much, MM. We had very interesting engagements, especially in our workshops and our sessions, Councillor Kabai. You actually came in a very difficult position. We know that Bitou is in fact in a very difficult position, but you kept afloat and you actually made it till now. You didn't dodge or run away in the middle of it. Thank you so much. And please send regards to the rest of the family.
Thank you. Councillor Nell?
Because the pressure of him doing wrong things, he said no. The first one ran away.
Councillor Nell?
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, I would like to thank the MM for the time he gave us and for bringing stability at a very difficult time. He came in at a very challenging time, during a very challenging period with all the compliance issues one on the other in a very short space of time. Thank you very much, MM. We really appreciate the time you spent with us.
Thank you very much. On that note, then it's also I'd like to take this moment. Thank you very much. As I've stated during the time here that I've engaged with you, I appreciate what you have bring to Bitou Municipality and your style that you have also brought with. It's much appreciated. I've been to your office many a times just for some extra guidance, and I appreciate the manner you also took me under your wing. It shows that you were the right person at the time, and that when you walked into those doors, you are here for business and business only. So thank you very much. Also, the time that you have, I think, as the officials, they've also learned something. All of us will learn. So when you leave our doors tomorrow or the weekend or Monday, please know that we value you. And ambakashe. Thank you. Go say. Thank you. We will now go into the in committee. Thank you very much. With a 5-minute break, I think it's enough.